Hi guys, I see some of you already filing in. This is Mark. It's 1 ahead of the hour, but some of you have already started filing in. So hello to everybody. Hi HP. Again, I'm a little bit behind here, so I don't see everybody yet. I'm like on a 30, 45-second delay if you want to say hi. Hi, Sergey. Hi, Brad. John. Zafar, how are you? Rafael. Please let me know if you can hear me loud and clear. Hi, Liz. Good morning from Darwin. Must be so early for you, Liz. Thank you for making these sessions. Thanks for that, HP. Thanks, Dawn. So yeah, we've already got a pretty full room already. We're right on the hour. I'll wait 1 or 2 minutes. We've got a ton to talk about today, and then I really want to kind of have enough time to get these trades out for tonight. So I'm going to try and end it like 20 after the hour. So we'll spend a good hour and 20 minutes, but there's a ton of stuff to talk about, just building on all of the trade formations that we've been seeing the last couple of weeks, discussing together. All the things that we've been anticipating are kind of coming around now. There have been some key twists and turns. And I think there's just going to be enormous money-making opportunities right now. So you guys will be ahead of the curve for sure. And I think that there's just, frankly, a ton of money to be made as these markets make some very important turns here. Hey, George. I'll wait 1 more minute and then I'm going to dive into it because there's a lot to cover, and I do want to kind of end with enough time to be able to get these out by about 5 p.m. Eastern time. So we have a good attendance session today. I think more people than we've had in the last couple of days. Hi, Anish. So I'll just wait 1 or 2 more minutes for everyone to file in, and then we'll get started. I think that we are at a paradigm shift in kind of a number of markets here, and I think again my edge is catching markets on the turn. Hi, Naveed. And I think that there are a number of markets that are on the turn now, and ready to thrust into some immediate big moves. Hi, Trent. How are you? So we've got some pretty good session today, pretty good attendance. We've got a lot of people already here. So I'm going to kick it off. As I've been saying, I think there's a lot of things going on right now in the market, a lot of paradigm shifts right now. And, so I'm going to jump right into it. Right now, I'm pointing your direction at the dollar index. This is a weekly chart. I don't really trade this, but I look at it as a proxy to see what's going on with the dollar. The dollar is important against, so many currency pairs. So this is, an upward curve of the US dollar. But back here, you'll notice, again, this on a weekly, we ran into a double top here. And when we came right into this double top resistance a few weeks ago, we got knocked back again. and now this week we're incurring a few more headwinds. So we have a Fed meeting tomorrow. It's generally anticipated the Fed will not raise rates in tomorrow's session, but I think everyone is waiting to see, whether they'll, tip their hat in terms of maybe a raise in March. And I think in light of what's going on in the stock indexes and all the turbulence, I think that maybe the Fed will take the foot off the pedal for a minute and probably back away from any interest rate hike, which then could temporarily weaken the dollar. So based on all this kind of overhead resistance that I'm seeing in the dollar, and this is all my own conjecture just by looking at the price action, we see that overhead resistance here. So I could certainly see that maybe the dollar starts trading a little bit into this congestion area here, before maybe we pick up again. So right now, a little bit of overhead resistance in the dollar. And I think one of the big beneficiaries of that is going to be the Canadian dollar. We spoke about that 20-year chart where, the Canadian dollar has, backed off, and it now looks to be higher. So we have had a number of markets today make some important turns. Here's the dollar index on a daily basis. You can see it's kind of turning down. And we talked about a number of markets yesterday, so I'm just going to go through them one by one. We looked at the Australian dollar, Canadian dollar. It stopped its rise. We did not get stopped out. Then it's fallen off. I did shoot out a new signal today. If you want to put on a second short position in AUD-CAD, we're looking at this double top now, and that's rolling over. I think I want to just start by directing to your attention by a couple reversals that have gone on in certainly in the Australian dollar and New Zealand dollar. So we saw these overhead resistance. There's some support back here. We got some support here. Again, it's very hard to go down against these bars. To the left, these were some obstruction bars. I wasn't sure if we would come down a little bit further, but we did get taken out. I did send out a trade alert to cover your Australian dollar, US dollar short position pretty much at a break even. We lost a few pips here, but now it looks like there's an important move in the Australian dollar on the daily. And frankly, I was looking at this weekly chart last week and wasn't sure, but I think that we may have a very important potential, potential bottoming in the Australian dollar. So I'm kind of jumping around here. Again, I think that the theme is that we're going to see a little softening of the US dollar against other major currency pairs. And I think one of the beneficiaries, ironically, is the Australian dollar. I saw the weakness yesterday, but I'm very attentive to to changes and direction and whatnot. So I will change my mind as the market changes directions. And this is kind of what I was seeing last week. Wasn't really sure if it was going to happen, but I kind of see this reverse wedge going on right here, where the market is kind of you've got this reversal down here, and now you've got this inside day. I mean, this is still kind of a so this was a bottom here. This is this week, which is currently an inside day bar. Who knows by the end of the week? And it looks like we could see maybe a move up to here. And if that's the case, then we could see something up to there. When I saw this double bottom, back in this period, I was projecting that I saw a move potentially, to the 76, 77 area in the Australian dollar. We did get another move down, but it now looks like we've caught another level of support here. And I'm, making an early prediction that we could be in the throes of a nice turnaround in the Australian dollar versus US dollar. So I'm kind of, putting out an early, call. I mean, it could be, overtaken by tonight's action again. So this is pretty early, but I'm seeing some turns in the US dollar. And now turns in the bearishness in the Australian dollar, maybe heading the other way. So, you know, on the daily session in the Australian dollar, we're now looking at this giant reversal. Again, you know, consistent with the, you know, way I look at things, you know, the market is now pointing, you know, in an upward direction. The bigger the bar, of course, the better the integrity of the signal. So we now see, we can also see a shape of an inverted head and shoulders here, where you got the left shoulder, head, the throws of the right shoulder with the neckline coming here, and perhaps, you know, we should wait for a confirmation of a break above here. But I think that we're in the throes of maybe an important turnaround in a lot of these markets. And now, right now, we're looking at Australian dollar, US dollar. This is a daily chart. And we had a big turnaround today. The market did make fresh new lows on the trade we suggested a couple days ago, and it has you know, now turned tail in the other direction, putting on this reverse formation now right at this old double bottom area. So we have some major support, you know, weekly and daily now in the 68 to 69 area in Australian dollar, US dollar. So there's just going to be a ton of signals tonight. You guys can choose, you know, any one of these, and I think they'll all be good. You know, put a buy stop, you know, above here, or, you know, if you want to wait till it sells off a little bit to, you know, buy into a dip. I think we're looking at a turnaround, and this is a, you know, any place here you're going to catch an Australian dollar turnaround, and you still could get, you know, some backing and filling in here as it kind of builds some space away from this down thing. But you know, it certainly looks like we could be looking for a thrust tomorrow after the Federal Reserve meeting. And again, caveat, you know, mTOR here, there will be huge volatility tomorrow, you know, as this Fed announcement comes out, so that I'm a little bit hesitant to put out all these buy stops, because I could see this thing kind of going up, and then with, you know, the thing coming back down here, and that would actually be a great place to, you know, catch these trades. So I'm not really sure how to, you know, position the trades tonight in light of the Fed meeting tomorrow. I see these enormous opportunities setting up, but you know, there could be a, you know, a giant shakeout, you know, right around the meeting. But I think, you know, any sell-off, you know, here is a buying opportunity, and should be looked at that way. So while I'm talking to you, I am going to be, you know, I am a little cautious at how to play this. I mean, I know in my mind what I want to do, but you know, I hate to get, you know, stopped in and then, you know, stopped out as we create volatility only to see it go the other way. I'm reasonably confident in a lot of these moves now, and I think we've seen an important turn. You know, especially we look, you know, the euro looks especially weak against the Australian dollar. So the euro AUD, the pair that we were looking at this week, where I said I wanted another signal within this formation. Well, guess what? You know, here we go. You know, this is all the things we've been talking about, waiting for the market to come to you, not chasing it. Even though I saw that I thought the euro AUD was going to sell off, I didn't, you know, sell it up into, you know, here. I'm, you know, prefer to wait for the market to, you know, form its candles and whatnot. And now we just got 1,000 things going on pointing, you know, downward. We've got this double top right here. We have this head and shoulders right here. And then, of course, today we have this giant reversal candle right here. Made a new high, close on the low. So, you know, again, the neckline is coming in right around these areas here. So penetration below this is probably going to open up, you know, kind of a new path here. But you've got all this price history here. So, you know, who knows? I mean, it's nothing's going to be easy or seamless. But I think, you know, this has topped. And I certainly see, you know, the Australian dollar going stronger, and certainly relative to the euro, going stronger against the euro as the euro weakens against the, you know, Australian dollar. So again, this, you know, points to an upward direction, that the Australian dollar is likely to be, you know, one of the chief beneficiaries if the dollar starts turning around. So you know, I don't know if there's any questions, you know, as we go through this. Trent asked, should we leave both Australian dollar, Canadian dollars, open? I probably should have been more clear. And I don't know, I was a little bit rushed to get out that. Yes, I feel pretty sure that the Canadian dollar looks even weaker than, stronger than the Australian dollar does now. Huge strength coming into the Canadian dollar right now, and we can, talk about that also. I'm kind of going all over the place here. This is what the Canadian looks like against the U.S., and you can see again just a huge strength as the dollar weakens now against the Canadian dollar. And then this is consistent with the theme now of, I see the dollar weakening certainly against certain key currencies. The Canadian dollar and the Australian dollar, I think, will be the chief beneficiaries if the dollar does weaken here. We also saw, a turnaround in the pound today. I think I cautioned that even though we saw this inside day bar, I did see this thing moving, 20, 30, 40 pips lower, but then it could turn around. And guess what? It went exactly 40 pips lower and turned around. So I did say that, we saw a reversal here, but I wanted to see more build away from this before this was ready to turn around. And guess what? That's what it's done. Spent the last 4 trading sessions building away from this downtrend. Now we've got the second key reversal bar right in the same area. I talked about this yesterday. I anticipated this is exactly what would happen. Right around this area we would get another key reversal, and now we have this. So it looks like if the dollar weakens, the pound will also go stronger, so that, I don't know, again, I anticipate we're going to get a lot of back and forth, fill in this white space, build out a little bit. So I wouldn't jump right into this, but on any setback, I would start to, buy some of these things. So again, I'm a little bit ambivalent how to, position trades, going into tomorrow's session in light of the Fed meeting. But there's so many great opportunities also that I'm going to kick myself if, I miss some of these. So the inclination is maybe to buy some of these on a limit. Hopefully we get a 50, 60, pip thrust down, and we can buy it a little bit lower. But, with a limit, it's just a guess how far it's going to go down before it turns around. And I don't typically like to do that, but in looking at some of these things, that may be the way to to play this. So you're on the inside, and you're getting a kind of an insight into my head here. So I'm going to think about how to position this, but I'm very, it looks like we've got a turnaround here, and that there's going to be some great opportunities. Short euro odds certainly. Also, the yen pairs look like they're in the turnaround. So I think the one, pair that may not go down if the dollar goes down is now the yen. While I was keying on this weekly formation, this head and shoulders, I am very attentive to this reversal. And these reversals, mean something, and you've got to be very attentive to it. And we kind of came down, and now we've got this inside day bar here, and a little bit build away here. So it looks like this the dollar yen has been a big uptrend, and this may just be a temporary stop, and we may continue higher here. And I'm open to either way. I can see the head and shoulders, but if it doesn't start behaving within the context of what should be a bear pattern, then that kind of informs me of another opportunity. So if we look more closely, certainly at the odd yen, which I think is going to be one of the big pairs, we had this head and shoulders, but now we have this major support that we caught a hold of last week. And again, the market just doesn't go down against these reversals. Even if it were to go down, it would have to build away significantly to roll over again. And this may be a dagger in the sand for the Australian dollar, Japanese yen. And we have the shape of an inside day bar, but by the end of the week, this could be a lot higher. So this is another pair that, if the yen is going to get weaker as the dollar goes stronger against it, and the Australian is going to get stronger, we have now what could be a turnaround in also the Australian dollar, Japanese yen. So I am going very quickly. I'm trying to get through a lot of this stuff because there's just an enormous amount of gyrations and shift in today's market. So we have this inverted head and shoulders potentially forming now in this Australian dollar yen. And we have the insurance day bar now within the pattern with this key reversal, and we're pretty close to the neckline now, or a penetration above these recent prices. So this market looks like it's ready to break back up above here. So this has been kind of the major support, if you will, and now it's kind of breaking above this. So this could open up a whole new path here. I mean, you have to build away from this wall we've got here, so it may not be that clean, but certainly this is suggesting that we've got to adjust our horizon, which was, this was looking to be a bear market. We saw all these tops here within the confines of this down move, but, we caught support last week. It tried to make a thrust against these prices, and now we've caught this, reversal. And again, I think we may have some paradigm shifts going on in the market in a giant way. We saw the stock market turn today, oil turn, gold has turned in our favor big time, which I'll get to. So I have to adjust, some of the thinking that, I was looking at. I was looking at, the yen going stronger. I was looking at the Australian and New Zealand going weaker, and those have all turned today. So we got stopped out in some of these positions, and that's okay. I think we could be ready to make even more money as it goes the other way, and that's part of being a trader. You have to remain flexible. What happens is we often analyze these things, and then we think we come up with an analysis, and then we get married to that opinion that we formed, or that analysis. And I'm willing to admit, hey, whatever we looked at yesterday in the yen and the AUD has now been reshaped, and now I've got to kind of look at things very differently. And I'm I'm not looking to be always right, because the market is 100% right. I'm not looking to be 100% right. And so with the view that the market is always right, I'm paying attention to what the market is telling me now, today, and trying to be objective and dispense with whatever thinking we shared yesterday. And that's, I think, the biggest challenge of of anything as a trader. We've got to be able to just dump old analysis, old opinion, and be willing to be completely objective. And I think that's the hardest part, because I think underlying all this is a willingness to admit that we were wrong about something. And I think we all fight that inclination. And to me, this is not about being right or wrong. It's not about perfection. It's again, the market is 100% right. It's always telling us what it wants to do, and we have to surrender to the will of the market and dispense with our views of what we might have held in let's just say yesterday's analysis and whatever analysis we've been talking about. So again, there's a lot of chop and change, and we may have a completely situation tomorrow where this is just a large chop, and we may chop down here again tomorrow. But I don't know, my sense is telling me that these reversal bars, they mean something, they point, and it's a question of how we get positioned here. Again, I think we have to build away from this. So I think you're going to get still some noise within the confines of this trading range here. And I would look at anything that comes down here tomorrow in Australian dollar yen as frankly a buying opportunity. So maybe that's going to be the way to play it in light of the anticipated volatility tomorrow. The other yen pairs, that I like is the pound yen. We got this, second key reversal right around this area. So we had, blast out of here, and now we've got this other key reversal. And I certainly would expect maybe, after a little bit of a, lower thrust tomorrow, for this thing to, maybe put on another 200 pips, in tomorrow's session. So there's just 1,000 trades we can look at. But again, with if the yen, does start going weaker and some of these other currencies go stronger, those are going to be the beneficiaries. So I think if the Canadian gets stronger and the yen goes weaker, the Canadian yen is going to be another pair that's already taken off major. You actually have an outside key reversal. This one has bounced off the bottom the most of any other pair, which is not to say that it will continue to be the stronger one. So it's really a choice to me of the Australian dollar versus the Canadian. The Australian dollar versus Japanese yen versus Canadian dollar yen or pound yen. And pound yen is always, just such an enormous thruster, in and of itself that, if you really want more bang for the buck, but you also get a lot of volatility. So probably in, no particular order, I would look at going long pound yen, Australian yen, Canadian yen as the big pairs, as the yen probably changes direction, or as these other currencies that have been weak now look like they're changing in another direction. So again, I see just an enormous sea change in all of these markets, and you're getting good quality bars, as I call them, these enormous key reversals, giant ranges, which just confirm what we're looking at. So I think the euro looks to be the weakest, of any turnaround. So all the currencies versus the euro, look to be going down. So the euro looks weak against the Australian, euro looks weak against the Canadian, which is all shorts. I think that, I did actually a video today that I'll, send out today on, I think that the euro Canadian, is a pair that looks like it's in real trouble. If you look at the weekly, you've got these enormous key reversals, here at the 155. This was what, a 700 pip week, close on the very low. This was, I don't know, almost like 1,000 pip week, close on the low. So you've got these enormous reversals within the same area now. And this looks like, you certainly could pave the way, certainly to whatever, 148, 145 in here. So there looks like to be an enormous opportunity, as I think the laggard, is the euro. So I think the Australian goes stronger, the pound looks like it's going a little stronger, Canadian dollar is going stronger, but the euro looks weaker against, just about everything. It's very tepid against even the US dollar today. It's, basically unchanged in this trading range we've talked about. We talked about the euro pound. What I was looking for, another sell signal. I wanted to wait, even though I thought it topped last week. I told you that I wanted to see further build away from this primary uptrend, and that's exactly what we saw today. So we had the build away, and now another key piece of this puzzle in terms of this reversal bar right around here. So you've got this double top area with these giant reversals now. And so, pick your poison. There's just, you can short the euro odd, euro CAD, euro pound. So I think the euro goes weaker against all of these currencies. So, again, the dollar looks to be, weakening against a lot of these things, but I think the euro is not going to be the big beneficiary of any dollar weakening that I can see. It looks like these other pairs, are much more robust. So, it's a question of, there's just so much to do here and so many opportunities. But I think euro odd looks a little bit more fertile. We've got a little bit more build out, if you will, a little bit more well-shaped pattern. But who knows? I mean, so we've got this build away. You've got this this double top which the euro pound has, and you've got more build away. So if I was going to do one, I'd probably look at the euro odd. And the euro CAD would be probably the top of the list if I was going to pick two candidates, to short euro versus other pairs. What else do we want to look at real quick? I'll try and quickly go through everything, and then we'll have an overall discussion. We're seeing a beneficiary. The Swiss looks like it's going weaker also. So the pound looks like it's going stronger against the Swiss franc. We had enormous outside reversal. We've got kind of this, this inverted head and shoulders going on here. I'd like to see a little bit more work and build away from this, but this certainly looks like it's turned around. And certainly as the odd goes stronger against everything else, it looks like the odd Swiss, if you're going to, correlate a Swiss pair, this looks really good. You have all this support here, all these key reversals, which were kind of pointing out early that there was, some support in this area. And we've been thrashing around, and now we've got another key reversal, actually an outside key reversal. We took out the low and the high. So this suggests now that, we could be in an upward trajectory in, the Australian versus the Swiss franc. So it looks like the Swiss franc, is, going weaker. And sorry about this. Certainly against the US dollar, looks like it's actually going weaker against the US dollar too. So the US dollar looks like the strongest against the Swiss franc. We have this outside reversal today. We took out yesterday's inside day bar, both the low and the high. Was a little bit unsure. Like I said, I couldn't visualize this going down. And this is exactly what happens when something doesn't go down, it goes up. And so now we have this, key reversal. And now the question is, do we want to, put a buy stop and get hold of this thing? But, we're near a lot of this overhead support. So, this is probably the least a favorite of anything that I would look at. There's so much other stuff to do that I think is much more within the risk reward objective of, how I look at markets. But certainly the odd Swiss looks, good against the yen, against the dollar. The Australian dollar really, and the euro looks like it's one of the big candidates to immediately go stronger here. We can look at some of the, the pound Australian to me is still weak. I think as the Australian, stays strong relative to the pound, I think that this still will weaken. The pound will be probably weaker overall versus the Australian, which then just confirms to me that the Australian, is going to be one of the strong pairs to focus on. GBP CAD is rolling over again. And I think, the Canadian is going to be, probably the strongest currency out of the box against the US dollar, looks like. So we want to favor anything where the Canadian dollar goes stronger. In this case, the pound looks like it'll go weaker. We have kind of this inside day bar configuration here. So there could be a good, place to put a sell stop underneath pound CAD tonight under these bars, and, perhaps open up, new prices lower here. So certainly this is a great candidate for a short sale also. We have the double top. We have this series of these, congestion bars in here, and anything under here will probably open up new prices to the downside. So there's frankly 1,000 things to do tonight, and it's just, we'll have to hone in on what looks like the best candidates after this discussion. Pound CAD, pound Swiss we looked at, pound yen we looked at, pound New Zealand. It's nothing really going on here. Pretty, sideways. Again, I think this reversal bars in here will be an overhang to the pound New Zealand. And, I'm pretty ambivalent about this pair, although we may start breaking, out of this downtrend line pretty quickly. And, we've got these little inside day bars, this congestion. If it breaks above here, I certainly could make the case that the pound might go a little stronger than the New Zealand over the short period. But, again, there's so many other really great opportunities that I don't need to guess and, drive myself crazy about this pair. Pound, US, again, I think this looks like it's likely to, turn around, given the extent of the downtrend. It doesn't just turn around cleanly. I think you'll see a lot of thrashing around, but I think you can look at any sell-off, meaningful sell-off. You get an 80, 100, 150 pip sell-off, in something like this tomorrow or whenever. You could probably take a shot at, buying that, in that we have some strength behind us in these reversal bars. The stock indexes we'll kind of come back to. Well, let's just, again, We had this inside day bar. I said we had this, these kind of obstacle bars to the left. I didn't see a clean, shot through here that even if we came off, we, could incur some noise. And that's exactly what happened. Came off, and by the end of the day, it reversed. There is this little gap here. So we may even have a paradigm shift in the stock indexes where, this reversal bar right at support could be starting to mend the fences there, although I think there's a lot of damage here, and my sense is we, over the long term, still probably roll over there, but nothing that I want to, focus on too much today in the stock indexes. New Zealand Canadian. Again, this looks like we have a double top here. We have a bit of a reversal, and this looks like, again, confirming that the Canadian is likely to be stronger against most pairs, and this thing looks like it's going to make its way lower, and we'll kind of come back to that. New Zealand dollar yen, same kind of thing. We've got this giant turnaround today. We had this reversal thing. It made some headway. And then I probably should have been attentive to, this key reversal. Whether this thing was going to roll over or not, when you see a size of key reversal here, it always puts a short-term impediment on any progress against this action. And, for that reason, I probably should have, stayed away. I mean, I did see the size of these reversals in a downward market, so I can't, flog myself too badly. We tried, we failed, and, we'll just move on. But it now looks like, we could be ready to go up. I'm so ambivalent about these yen pairs, because, there's so many, countervailing things. You've got this weekly head and shoulders here, but you do have this double bottom support here. So, there are, arguments on both sides. And again, even if we, make some progress up here, we still have a monthly head and shoulders. We still have all this support here, this little gap here. So the jury's still so out on these yen pairs. But, we're certainly putting on some interesting moves today. So, sometimes it's not easy. You put in your trades, and if you're wrong, then, you just get out with an acceptable loss. And we're just trying to hone down as to which, look like they're the best trades. Same thing, again, we've came back into the support area in the New Zealand dollar versus US dollar. We have a support here, have another, big, support here, and now we have another key reversal here. So, it's making life interesting. I was looking at the, just like the weekly on the Australian dollar, US dollar, which we're looking at here. And I'm showing you these charts just because the visuals look a little bit different. So kind of just showing this here. You kind of have the interesting thing going on here in the New Zealand dollar. So here again, a little bit of conflict in my mind as to, the battle of the formations, where you kind of, let me just blow this up and give you a bigger picture of what I'm kind of looking at here. So this is the New Zealand dollar, US dollar. This is a weekly chart. And of course, we see this, double top in, context of a giant downtrend. But, now at the bottom, we have somewhat of a double bottom. You have, reversal here. You have the reversal right there. And last week you had another reversal. And again, we have to pay attention to these reversals. Whether they turn to be long-term reversals or not, they tend to contain, for in this instance, the downward thing. So whether, we go up and then we come back down, will still be yet to seen. And I think that's probably maybe the way it's going to play out. But at the, for the moment being, this has put a, temporarily halt to any downward slide within the context of a near-term support. And so who knows? I mean, even if we go another 200 pips higher and then we fail, there's still 200 pips, to be made on the upside here. So I don't know, if this is a real bottom that we're looking at and, it goes like this, which it may just do. If the the Australian dollar weekly looks like it could be shaping up for a big move, so could this. And actually, I wrote an article back in November projecting that we could have 1,000 pip move up in the Australian dollar, US dollar, because I saw some early signs, of some support there. So, we looked at the dollar, running into some headwinds with a double top on the weekly. And so this could be it for the dollar. I mean, if we did, the Fed backs away from any further interest rate hikes, and the world sees weakness, in the Fed, we could see weakness in the dollar coming in very quickly and could be a catalyst for some big moves the other way. So at least we'll be prepared, for that as we work through this analysis. Certainly other asset classes like gold, which we've been talking about for 1,000 years now, seems, look what's happening, guys. We're finally rewarded for all this work we've been looking at for the last couple of days and weeks. We're getting another thrust in our favor today. Hopefully all you guys are in. I took a second shot and got more in at the 11:06, so I doubled up. And looking pretty good right now with the gold trade now. You remember my initial take profit was 11.23. Last night I moved that again to about 11.32 up here, and I may or may not leave it. If we get a little Fed pop tomorrow, we'll take that and then see if we can come in. But looking at this thing, I may even move it higher because this thing looks like it certainly wants to make some progress into this white space. So Trent says, yep, he did 2 trades with a smiley face. So I'm glad I could be, some help there, Trent. So yeah, this is really, coming to pass. Remember, we observed the bullish divergence of gold versus the, other metals, platinum, silver, copper. Gold is much stronger. All those things were still making fresh lows while gold was well above its December lows. We saw this double bottom. And again, this is what gives us big confidence, in our trades when we see, all this mess going on here. There was so many times where, we could have second guessed ourselves. I was second guessing ourselves. There were so many times where I thought, this didn't look so good, but I grit my teeth and said, this is what I'm looking at until I'm wrong. I'm gonna, put my faith in, this price pattern here. And then of course the inside day bars and the thrusts above there and keeping our stops just below, here and then here, kept us out, kept us in the market. So, told us how to manage the trades, within the context of, a thrashing market while it worked in our favor. And then finally, we were rewarded for all this, nail biting. And first position we got on at 1096. And so we're 270 pips higher today on that. And another position at 1106 for some of you got another 150 pips there. So, collectively about 450 pips right now in the gold trade. And to my mind, this looks pretty good. And again, I think we're looking at a paradigm shift in another asset class where this has historically been weak. And, now we're just laying the basis for what could be an enormous move the other way. I've been looking at the weekly gold and, who knows? This could just be the beginning. So, for those who want to stay around, this could really, just be the beginning here. Let me take a look at the weekly. It's kind of harder to tell when you, when I stretch it out, it looks a little bit different. So, we'll have to see. It has some areas to take out here, but if we certainly get up to, 1180, which is still $60 from now, certainly we'll be all smiling then, and this will start looking very different. So we'll have to see, but certainly we have to give the benefit of the doubt now that, we still have a, a downtrend in place here. But you know, who knows? We start trading about 1200, 1220. This is going to take on an entirely different look here. So, you know, but I don't want to get ahead of myself. Let's take one step at a time here. And this is what it looks like on a daily, a little bit different visual. And we still have plenty of white spaces to dance in up here before we see any headwinds in gold. We still have all the way to about 1185 before there's any resistance. So there's still another 600 pips to go. And if we get, you know, some noise tomorrow, we could see this market go 30, $40 higher tomorrow. So I'm going to probably put a take profit a little bit further away to give this market some room in light of the price action today. So hopefully everybody's you know, happy about that. Dollar yen, I'll finish off with this. So again, you know, I've been looking at this weekly chart. You know, is it a double top? Is it a head and shoulders? We made our way right to the neckline, right where all the important support is. And who knows, this little, you know, support right here could take us back up to, you know, 130. We could get just an enormous move the other way. So I'm, you know, going to open my mind to that. Certainly if it starts rolling over, then, you know, I'll be attentive to, you know, this thing. So one way or another, this, you know, this pattern is telling me, you know, if we go up, it's going to be a broken pattern. If we go down, then it's going to be consistent with what this should do, and I'll be able to make some decisions there. But we looked at kind of this symmetrical triangle yesterday. We haven't quite filled it out, so it hasn't been confirmed one way or another. And sometimes maybe we just, you know, I'm a little bit impatient, you know, and I'm a little bit ahead, and so get stopped out a few times, maybe unnecessarily. But you know, so we're looking at this kind of symmetrical triangle here, and you know, probably won't be able to confirm, you know, a breakout until we kind of get maybe, you know, close to the 119.5, about, you know, maybe, you know, 90, 100 pips from here before this is maybe we can say is confirmed the other way. So we could still continue to, you know, play around here. And then, you know, if we, you know, break down, then that will give me another, you know, dimension to view the dollar yen. So, you know, certainly, you know, can make the case both ways right now in the dollar yen, but we have to look at these, you know, reversal bars. You know, when I always have difficulty making an opinion, I just try and be as objective as I can and say, look, the market is pointing to where it wants to go. I thought it was going to turn around and go down here, and then saw the appearance of this bar and kind of didn't know what to make of it. But you know, it was, you know, telling me what it was wanting to do, and this is what we got. So who knows? Maybe you know, this is not really at the bottom of a channel, so I'm not sure how solid to make of this thing. We could still, you know, get reversals in here and get some noise. So you know, we've got to be a little bit careful here of the yen pairs. But my instinct tells me that we could, you know, reverse course in a hurry. And I've got to be willing to reverse my mentality and mindset for that particular, you know, occasion if that occurs. So what did we leave out? I think we've covered out a lot. I just want to have now kind of a more of a general discussion based on what we're looking at. And I think the general theme is Canadian dollar has turned. The Australian dollar looks like it's turned. Versus certainly both were against the U.S. dollar. So, you know, as we anticipate maybe a softening in the U.S. dollar, to me, looks like the, you know, Australian dollar, Canadian dollar, and maybe the pound are going to be the chief beneficiaries. You know, New Zealand, you know, behind it. Let's look at the Australian dollar, New Zealand. Australian dollar, New Zealand's kind of going stronger right now. So the Australian is slightly stronger than the New Zealand. So we have to kind of, you know, favor, I think, Australian over, you know, New Zealand as this thing turns, and, you know, Australian looks stronger. So I like Australian dollar, U.S. dollar long. I'd prefer to, you know, maybe buy it on a pullback here, you know, into tomorrow's, volatility, but who knows? This could start taking off in advance of tomorrow's meeting. But again, based on the video I sent you yesterday, I don't know how many of you guys saw that. What I don't like to see is, let's say we close on the top, close right at the high of the candle today, and then I put a buy stop here, and then we get stopped, then the market just continues, goes from this and it just continues straight up from here. I don't really like that. I mean, I want to see it come back into this bar. And frankly, the more the bar it comes into, the more of the, it's like the beach ball underwater analogy I've used in the past, that more energy will build up to bring out of. So, again, what I'm reticent about is put a buy stop above here. We get stopped into this trade, and then it kind of goes higher, and doesn't do anything, and then tomorrow's action pulls back. So I think for that reason, I'm inclined to want to put out my signals at a later time tonight. I don't think there's any reason to rush getting into these trades in light of tomorrow's Fed meeting. So while I'm talking to you, I don't think I'm going to have any urgency about putting out. I usually put it out at 5 p.m. Eastern time. The second session closes around 7 p.m. Eastern time, and I know for some of you guys in the UK or elsewhere, it's a little bit later. But again, in light of tomorrow's meeting, I really want to see, and I would hope that once these candles close, that then you start seeing the prices start failing and going back the other way. So that way I'll feel much more secure about putting either a buy stop here, or I might put a combination of a buy limit and a buy stop like we saw last week to catch it. If it comes off, we can buy it lower, and then if we miss it, we'll get the second order higher, and you can choose to do both if you like. And if there are questions about that strategy, we can talk about that in a minute. So that's kind of my thinking. I kind of want to hold off. I think there's kind of no reason to actually do a lot of these trades, and maybe I should hold off until tomorrow to actually put out the signal. Maybe a couple of hours before the Fed meeting. It comes out 2 p.m. Eastern time, and sometimes these markets start moving in advance of that. They start anticipating it. We may miss some of these moves. So I'm not really sure how to play this. I see, so many things here, and I'm giving you the insight so that if you see, certain opportunities, then, go ahead and, step in if you feel comfortable. I think any movement, down in the odds, U.S. dollar should be viewed as a buying opportunity. So even if we, come off, 40 and 60 and 80, and you buy it, and then it starts coming off a little bit more, I think you should just grit your teeth and hold on, because again, these big candles give us some cover as to that kind of thing. So I'm a little bit unsure, just in light of where we are. I still think there's a lot of we need to build more away from this downward thing. So I'm pretty sure we're going to get some churning action before we shoot out of here. So that's kind of the difficulty I'm having in my thinking, but I do think that it looks like we have an important turn in some of these markets, and I want to get on them. I saw that important turn last week in the Canadian dollar and kind of missed the first thrust there. Just wanted to stay away from the early volatility, but now I think some of these trades are more mature. I think the pound CAD, looks like a good trade down. So, I may put out some trades tonight, and I may send out another email tomorrow morning. So while I'm talking to you, I'm thinking this out, and I think that's actually sounds like a good idea. Like some trades, like pound CAD, we might want to get short, put a sell stop entry, and some of these other trades, I may want to just take a look and see how they're behaving, and put out another signal or just an update tomorrow. So even if I put out a trade today, I might send out an update before the meeting. So watch out for that. And I think you guys understanding my insight and should be attentive to some of these trades on your own. So Any questions? I think that's basically what I wanted to cover. So just to summarize, I see some short-term weakness in the dollar here, which could translate into bigger weakness if the Fed backs off. Here's the daily, and you can see this giant reversal today. We've got another reversal. This is a daily, and again, I don't know how much importance to put here. We still are in a big uptrend, but when you see the presence of these bars, you kind of got to take it seriously, and we could get some follow through tomorrow, which means if we get weakness in the dollar, then we have to say, well, which pairs are likely to benefit? And right now it looks like Canadian dollar, which is already strengthened pretty significantly, and Australian dollar. And my sense is, it's looks like the Australian dollar and maybe even the British pound, starts getting traction in tomorrow's sessions. So that's the Australian dollar, and there's the pound, which has been a lot weaker, and maybe needs a little bit more time to catch fire here. But who knows? We could just get a blast out of here and get 200-300 pips tomorrow, while the dollar reverses. So that pair could be a pretty explosive tomorrow. So I would use any sell-offs in Australian dollar and pound dollar as buying opportunities. Any questions thus far on what we're thinking, how to play these trades? Gold, I think if you're in it, you're looking great, and should just look to continue holding that thing. We may get a bit of a sell-off tonight, but again, I think this thing looks like it's got $20, $30, $40 on the upside still to go. So again, if you don't get your email, right away at the normal 5 o'clock time, I'm probably going to wait till a later time, 7 or 8 p.m. Eastern time, to send out, one email. And then, because I don't think you're going to miss anything now. I think everyone's going to be now, after this session closes, everyone's going to kind of back off, assume that, nobody wants to make any commitments ahead of the Fed announcement tomorrow. And, you'll start seeing a backing off of these markets. And to me, that's just going to be an opportunity to, to get in these markets, cheaper. Typically I like to buy on momentum, and these buy stops may still work, but I don't want to get triggered in a buy stop now, and then only to see these markets back off and, get stopped out. So Liz says, is it too late to take a second trade on gold? I like to get in things, where I can assess the risk reward, right out of the gates. And when I said put on a second position, I said it right here where we had these inside day bars, and I knew if we put a buy stop here, I could assume that we would get a bit of a momentum out of there. But not only did I have a feeling of where to get in to take advantage of the upside, but it also gave me an idea of where to assess my risk. Now you're up here, the risk is like in the middle of the tennis court, literally. You're neither in the front nor the back, and you could get this thing could back off $10 and still mean nothing in its trajectory higher. So I think you still are going to get a shot. You're going to get a follow through. And so Liz, if you want to get another trade in gold, I would be inclined to wait for this thing to back off $3, $4, $5 and take a shot there. If you want to get in, you just have to understand that your risk is a little bit bigger than it was when we got in here. But I certainly, this looks great. You've broken above, this resistance area now, and I don't think you're likely for a retest, because you already had the retest here. So typically when markets, people talk about me as a breakout trader, and they say markets, it's a failing strategy, and markets give you these false breakouts, and they do, but you got to know when they do and kind of when they don't. So I identified this thing. We got in initially right here at 1082, and we got out right here at 1109. So we made 265 pips already in one thrust in gold. And you know, I was pretty attentive that, you know, once, you know, you break out of these things, you do get a pullback. And you know, you have had this natural pullback already. So I think, so we had the neckline here, you broke out here, and then you had this pullback, which I love to see. But now, you know, we've come across this second, you know, resistance area right here. We had 3 levels in the last, you know, many, you know, 10 or 20 trading sessions, and now we've broken nicely above here. So maybe it breaks, you know, close to this breakout area back to, I don't know, 10, 12, 11, 12, or you get another $10 pullback, and then we do one of these. But you know, certainly any pullback, I think here, Liz, you could look to get some more on. And if you want to get in right here, just you know, be willing to, you know, risk, you know, 10 or 12 bucks, and then you should be all right, because I do expect to see, you know, one of these tomorrow. Any other ideas, or any other questions or things you want to discuss? You're welcome, Liz. So I'm always 30, 40 seconds behind you guys. So apologize when I ask a question. You know, I'm just waiting to see what you guys want to talk about, or any questions you have about, you know, anything we talked about. But I think we're setting the table here for, you know, some giant money-making opportunities as these markets start shifting from one paradigm to the next. And I think again, my sense is the Australian dollar is going to turn big, and you know, these yen trades may turn big, as you know, if the yen starts weakening again and the dollar starts strengthening against the yen, and these other currencies strengthen, then we might see you know, these other things. So Trent says, what about stop losses? So you just look for the trade management tonight, Trent, on some of these trades. You know, that's the things that I'm kind of struggling with now. You have these big ranges, so it's going to be nothing for these markets to get into these ranges. And you know, I think I discussed this a bit. I mean, you know, let's look at you know, Australian yen. You know, or you know, it's going to be nothing for, you know, the market to kind of maybe get back down, maybe halfway or even 3/4 of the way down here, really test you before they turn around. And again, you know, this is such a giant thing. I do expect, you know, more build out. And so, but my sense is anything that this thing comes off is actually an opportunity. So I almost hate to put a, you know, stop loss in something. I hate to put a buy stop in, get stopped, and then this thing comes off, you know, get stopped out and whatnot, as we get a lot of volatility and noise. So I kind of, you know, think the better strategy is to try and do a limit tonight on some of these things, try and get a sell-off, and look at those, you know, sell-offs as an opportunity to, you know, get a position nicely, you know, lower. But then it's, you know, arbitrary as to where you put your stop loss. So you know, put a, you know, a buy limit here, and if it goes, you know, 10 pips above that, you never get trigger on the buy limit, and so you're never in the trade, and then it takes off. So that's one danger. Or, you know, I put a buy limit here, and then put my stop loss arbitrarily down here, and then it goes 5 pips below that and then turns. So, you know, I kind of know what I'm looking at here, and I know what I'm willing to risk, and you know, and what I'm willing to endure, you know, with some of the price action. But you know, tomorrow, of course, it could be hairy. You know, any Fed announcement comes with its attentive volatility. So who the hell knows what the market's going to throw at us? And you know, I think this is just a good preparation for, you know, anything the market throws at us. We should be prepared how to handle it. Anything else we want to talk about here? So again, you know, I think the Australian dollar and Canadian dollar are going to be big beneficiaries if the dollar comes off. We've had already some extended moves in the Canadian dollar, but you know, I expect certainly. I'll put a video out tonight. I don't know if I'll publish it in the email or not. I did put a video together, but since you guys are here, you'll have the insight anyway. So, we talked about this. This thing's come off. I see that, we may just continue just coming down to about this thing in a straight shot, which would create this reverse wedge triangle, and then we get some, price action here. We play around here. Now it looks like a head and shoulders. But I think either way, this looks like it's over. Whatever this price action, whatever it wants to do with us, it looks like we're going to get some lower prices in the immediate future. And today's key reversal, the size of it, the extent of it within the context of this thing, I think that we're going to immediately get some movement to somewhere in or near the 150. So we've still got 284 pips from where it is currently to this white area before we're likely to see any meaningful support. So that's certainly a trade. Euro odd's a great trade. Euro pound is certainly a candidate. So probably in descending order, I'd put Euro CAD and Euro odd, 1 and 2 very closely, with the Euro pound very closely behind it as candidates for short trades. Let's see, Brad, if both the odd and the CAD are beneficiaries, do we still keep the odd CAD trade? So, yeah, what this says to me, Brad, is that the Canadian looks like it's even going to be stronger than the Australian, which means that the Australian is going to go weaker, but, maybe it's not going to be just a huge trade because they, look like they're both pretty strong here. And so, this reversal bar right here kind of gives me concern. And now we could catch some support in here and back and filling. So now that I'm thinking about it, I would just, get the hell out of, all of these trades, and let's step aside this market. It does look like it's double topping, but, again, we've got to be very attentive to these key reversal bars. And once we get in here, we could catch some support, which then suggests that the odd could be the real guy that's going to be the strength here. And so while we're breaking this apart and doing this iterative process, it's telling me more and more that where I want to shift my attention is to the Australian dollar. Anything long the Australian dollar. So I just get out of both positions. If you got in on the second one, just clear it. It should be around the same thing, and I apologize for that second alert. I think you should have a good trade. We got in the first one at 99.11, I think, so you should have 35 pips in that. I would just clean it out, and let's stand aside. And I could have tears tomorrow, and we could see some follow through out of a double bottom, a double top. Let's look at the New Zealand CAD. It kind of looks weak too, but let's just, for now, this is still an uptrend, and I wouldn't be surprised if we get some support here too. So I think now that I'm looking at everything, my instinct is to go long these Australian things. If you like Australian Swiss long, Australian yen long, choose your poison. And Australian dollar. I think they're all, I think actually as the yen turns, probably this is the one I like. I think you're seeing some good build away here. You're seeing a good thing. So as I, continue honing this, and this is the process that I, while you signed up and, you bought into, going through this process, this is what I do every day. I just kind of whittle it down until, and I, sometimes if I have a lot of candidates, it drives me crazy, but I think Australian dollar versus the yen seems to be like the trade that we really want to, take a shot at here. Got the key reversal. You've got the neckline very close to today's, current action here. And anything, above this, you're likely to see, a good spark. I mean, we're still pretty close to this, advanced downtrend line. So, but which tells me if we come out of here, we could come out of here, like gangbusters. Or it could just come out and reverse and do some more work. It's going to be one of the two scenarios. But I think over time, it looks like this, might have caught a bottom here. which contradicts a lot of my thinking over the last couple of days and even weeks. And you just have to be willing to do that as a trader, and and throw that away and look at what the market is telling you right now. So I think pound yen and Australian yen, in my my gut tells me we could have some big moves starting tomorrow. So Trent Johansson says, so cancel them. I'm assuming you mean OddCAD. I would just clean out of OddCAD. Just close your positions at the market. If you put on the second one, you should be pretty close to where you put it in. Just cancel them out. You should have a small profit on both of them, and just scratch the OddCAD trade. And I think there's just other trades to focus in that have much better risk reward profile, and we can assess the risk much easier going into tomorrow's volatility. Okay. Okay, Brad says he concurs. Trent says he concurs. Anything else here? So, yep, I think the Australian looks like it's going to be probably the main beneficiary of any weakness in the dollar. And maybe that's because everybody's overshot on the China thing, that there's been an overcorrection. We've assumed a lot of weakness and problems there, and maybe the market has now overshot that. And I think the Australian was the one that was gunned down because it's close proximity to China. It's a commodity related market with oil and gold. Now that gold's turning around, oil's turning around, the Australian dollar, now that I'm thinking about everything and looking at scenarios, which I don't try and analyze these things too deeply. I just try and see what the market's telling me. But I can start seeing a storyline in my head as to why the Australian dollar could be the main beneficiary going forward here. So Trent says we should only be in gold at the moment then. Yeah, I believe so. I think we got stopped out of all the other short trades last night. We got rid of the OddCAD now. So you're right, Trent. Gold should be what you should be in. And then I would just focus, getting long some of these Australian, correlated pairs. You can pick which ones you like, or just follow what I say in my email tonight, and and then maybe into tomorrow also. But I'm thinking all of them look pretty good. I mean, no, I shouldn't say all of them. I say Australian dollar, US dollar, especially the Australian yen, because I think you can get a turn both in the yen and in the Australian dollar, which could just put fire on the house here. So if you've got a burning house, this just could be put kerosene on it, and you could just get a huge explosive move out of here in Australian yen. And my sense is also in pound yen, because when these yen trades turn, pound yen is an explosive move. So if you guys can tolerate some volatility and you put on some small positions, I think you could see big moves in both these pairs as they turn tail in the other direction in a hurry. So we got a bit of a reversal here, and we stopped right there in the pound yen. So I don't know if that's going to stop it, or not. Who knows? We could have a lot of volatility in the yen. So if you don't want volatility, I would stick to odd Swiss. That certainly looks like it's kind of somewhat of a bottom down here, and odd US dollar. It was in this white space, and certainly we could have some nice support here too. So I think in terms of overall, just to summarize, if we were looking at all these pairs, I think the least risky is probably, I'd say the least volatile is going to be odd US and maybe odd Swiss, 1 and 2. And then we could have a lot of volatility in odd yen if I'm incorrect if this yen, still wants to, turn stronger, we could get a breakout and a break back down and a key reversal up here. And, I certainly have to be, open to that. But, we'll keep our risk low, and, we'll just get stopped out as usual if we're wrong and take an acceptable risk. So there's no perfection here and whatnot, but I think there's just some enormous opportunities as we look as these euro trades look like they're great short opportunities against a host of currencies. So, I think it doesn't look really clean to here. We've got some price action here. We've got some support in the euro odd. Euro CAD looks like it's a more of an open trajectory to a straight shot down to almost, under 151 as we continue down, but it's already had an enormous move. So, who knows? It just looks like there's going to be just a lot of volatility here. So, frankly, if we can, get involved in some of these things as we get pullbacks and retrenchments, that may be the way to play it. But it's not easy to do. It's much easier to put a buy stop, sell stop, let the market confirm the action, and then we don't have to guess and we don't have to sit in front of a screen. Putting limits orders, I have to arbitrarily guess where market's going to stop, put us in, and then turn around. And that's really not what I like to do. But, it may be the way to, play these markets in light of where they are at, the big move they put on today, and the fact that we're going to get huge volatility one way or another from the Fed meeting tomorrow. So I think I've kind of repeated, I feel like I've repeated myself on a lot of this stuff already. I just want to reinforce, a lot of these things. I think we've got a lot of big things going on here, and there's going to be money-making opportunities, but it's never that clean or easy. But I think it's on the table to be taken. Any other questions? Any other markets? I'll wait, 30, 45 seconds to hear from you guys. Otherwise, I'll assume we're good. And I think, like I said, there's no need to rush to put a signal in right now. I think the market's just going to sit still and sit on its heels, cool its heels until, well before the Fed meeting, or not. I mean, we could start seeing some markets take off, but I don't think so. In light of the big ranges we've made today, I think we're going to start backing down into the ranges, and then you guys can be adept on, kind of how you want to play some of this stuff. And I'll put out some guidelines and some price points that I'll think, but they're pretty arbitrary. I mean, I guess that, put a buy limit, on something that I think is going to go up. It's just going to be a guess as to, put it 30, 50, 60 pips lower. And, hopefully we get in and don't get stopped out as this thing turns around. So, and also a buy stop. So, tomorrow, if we backed off these things pretty good, then, the great strategy is to put this buy stop in and then let the market just trigger you into it. And that would be the best way to play that. So, let's kind of take a look at things. I'll put a note out tonight, and I'll probably likelihood put an email out, in the morning. And then we're going to convene, I guess, 1 hour after the Fed meeting. So we'll be able to take a look at all of this and see how it worked out. So if that's not, that's probably a good juncture to leave things off for today. So hopefully this was informative for everybody. And we'll see you tomorrow. And it should be a pretty interesting meeting tomorrow as well. So you're welcome, Don. You're welcome, Liz, Trent, all you guys. Thank you for attending. And I'll just wait another couple seconds. HP, Trent, you're welcome. And I will. Sergey says, should we raise the stop loss in XAU USD? Sergey, yeah, I wouldn't, worry about XAU USD. I think it's going well. If you wanted to, put in a stop loss, I would put stop loss in gold. I don't want to, contain this thing too much. There's a long way. There's a 4-hour bar, with a low at 1109. I'd probably put it there. Put a stop loss at 1108 if you really want to concerned about that. But I think we're all good in gold. So I think 1108 would be a good place to raise your stop loss, Sergey, in gold. John, you're welcome, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Take care now. Bye-bye.